Man goes in the cage. Cage goes in the water. Shark's in the water. Our shark. Farewell and adieu to you fair Spanish ladies. Farewell and adieu, you ladies of Spain. For we've received orders what to head back to Boston. Ne'er will we ever see you again. I was told there would be a shark. This was not a boating accident. Nope, just the same train wreck you've come to know and love on this channel. Hello, everyone. I am Makoto Kusumoto, your host on Derpcraft. Nice to see you again. Barry and I say hi. Today's episode is going to be a little different. I hope you liked the intro, by the way. It was so much fun to make. To make that shot for shot. Mad props to Steven Spielberg and the cast and crew of Jaws, because that was rough. That was a rough little intro to make, honestly, to get everything almost shot for shot. So I hope you enjoyed that. But today, we're going to do something we've been teasing for the last couple of weeks, last couple of episodes anyway. And that is, we need to make a new base, because we have outgrown this one. As you see, we've got machines everywhere. We've got farms. We've got random crops growing, we've got maps, and then if you go in my house, it's just a mess of chests everywhere. We've got an overflow chest out here that's got snow and cobble in it. We've got a chest here for my smeltery, which is outside because I didn't have room for it in here. We have the enchanting stuff. Downstairs, we've got the rail line, we've got the auto fisher, so we are out of room. And I was thinking, we could do something with this lighthouse as far as putting a base in there, which I thought was an interesting idea to start with, and I really like the way the lighthouse turned out, and to have something maybe underneath it or inside it would be really fun. But then I realized, you know what? We've been doing a whole lot of stuff, and we haven't hardly touched the aquatic update, the 1.13 update, and the ocean biomes are actually really neat now with the kelp and the drowned and all the new fish and all the new life in there. So why not build an underwater base? So that's what we're going to do, is we are going to rebuild our base underwater using a technique that I've seen on another channel, and I'll go into that a little bit more detail later. It's a fairly advanced technique, so this is going to rock or it's going to be a complete disaster. Either way, what fun! Now, before we start on this underwater base, we've got to do a little bit of prep work. And the prep work, most of the prep work I've actually almost completed off camera here. So what we've done is, since we want to actually make an underwater base on the seafloor here, we have to get rid of everything and make this completely flat down here. Now, I don't think these count, but you know what, just to be on the safe side, let's get rid of them. And the reason you need it completely flat is because we are going to be using sand dropped down onto the seafloor to give us the outline for the base. The base is going to be a floor of concrete with glass over it. So we're going to make a dome. And the reason I chose here is because A, it's a little bit deeper than other areas, but B, there's a lot of interesting features around here that we can actually use to our advantage. Like there's a cave over here. I want to incorporate this cave into the base. In fact, I think this is where the living space is actually going to be in this cave once we get everything taken care of. I'm about to drown. That's bad. Let's not do that. Go, 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 go. I got potions of water breathing just for this. Why did I forget them? So now that we have this completely cleared out and flat, well, we've got a hole there. Let's plug that real quick. There we go. Now that we have this completely flat, this area here is going to be where our dome structure is going to go. In order to be able to do this, we need to plot out how big this is going to be. Now, as I said, this is an advanced technique, and this is a technique that's actually done by Grian, who some of you may recognize from the Hermitcraft server. He's been doing videos a really long time. He's one of maybe the top 10 Minecraft YouTubers on YouTube right now. I think he's had a couple of videos trending, I'm not sure. But this is a technique that he used in one of his starter base videos that I'm going to link to down in the description below so you can see exactly how he did it. And we're going to try that here. So what we're going to do is we're going to put down a layer of blocks on the surface. And then we're going to put sand on top of that in a dome kind of structure. And then after we're done with that, we're going to knock out the blocks below. The sand's going to fall. And then we can use concrete or glass or whatever we want to use to be able to outline whatever it is totally to the top, dig out the sand, and we've got our base down there. And the first thing we need to do is we need to go ahead and outline where this is going to be. So right about here, we're going to go ahead and nerd pole up to the surface. There we go. So there's one. So that's going to be roughly about the middle. So we're going to build out from there. And there we go. There's the rough outline of how big this dome is going to be. And just looking at this, I'm thinking maybe I've bitten off more than I can chew. That's a lot of acreage to cover here. Wow. Buckle up. This is going to be fun. And then from our center pillar, we're just going to build out with a block, a random block, to each one of these posts that we've put into the ground so that we know what's where. And I just went past it because I wasn't paying attention. Now, I chose sandstone for this. Hello. You come by to see the construction project? Am I building it on top of your house? Are you're... Whoa. You spin me right round, baby, right round, like a zombie baby, right round, round, round. Anyway, as I was saying, you can choose pretty much any block to do this with. I chose sandstone because once we get the sand down on top of this, we want something that's fairly easy to break, but we're not going to accidentally destroy the sand with. So you could use dirt, obviously, but if you have super uber whoop-de shovel like I've got here, it's very easy to break both the dirt and the sand if you're not paying attention. So I chose a block that I would be using two different tools for, so you can't really break sand all that effectively with a pickaxe, no matter how good it is. Therefore, I'm using the sandstone because that is easily broken with a pickaxe, but will not mess with the sand if I miss my target. So there is the outline for the main part of our base, which is going to be the glassed-in bubble dome part of the base. And then over there is where the cave is that we're going to utilize for the living areas slash storage system that I'm going to put in. So now we just have to fill in all of this with sandstone. And wouldn't you know, I ran out of sandstone, so we got to go get some more of that. So I'm going to go gather that, and then we'll be back in just a few minutes to complete the bottom portion of this and start filling in the sand. And there we go. There is the outline for the main glassed-in biome for our base done in sandstone. So that should match what's on the seafloor down there. So all we have to do now is put sand over the top of this in a dome sort of structure. And we can go on to the next step after that, which is knocking all of this out. All the pillars are gone. Now it's just sand, and then knock all these out. So let's get the sand on here, and we'll go from there. And while filling all this in with sand, I realized I went one out too far as the sandstone, because this is going to be the outer edge where we're going to put another block layer down as soon as all this falls. So not a big deal. It's just a little bit more I got to knock out, a little bit more I had to collect. So doesn't invalidate the project, but it does kind of irritate me because I had to go get sandstone like 4 times while I was doing this. So for your build, measure down and then go 1 in for each one of these. And this is going to be a lot easier if you're not doing it against a seawall or... Ooh, give me those back. Thank you. Or into a cave or anything like that. If you're just doing a simple bubble, this will be much, much simpler. I'm intentionally making this harder on myself than I probably needed it to be. But if it works out, it's going to look really, really good. If it works out. Which I'm not entirely convinced it's going to. Because it's me. So, yeah. And continue. So I have to tell you, at this point, I'm kind of terrified that this build isn't going to work out with the amount of work I've already put into it. And as you can see, there's a lot of sand that I'm having to put down for this. I had to go get sand 2 or 3 times. I almost broke one of my shovels. This was a pain to do. It was painful to do. And when I say painful to do, it's not that I didn't enjoy doing it, because I did. The main problem I had with this is that if you look at the color of the sand, it looks an awful like snow, doesn't it? Well, I'm from the desert, and I go snowblind really easily, so there's a couple of times in here where you'll see I'll look up at the sky, because I needed to see something other than white for a while, because I was literally going snowblind while I was doing this. Plus the fact that I was having to put down torches. I was terrified that a creeper was going to come along when I wasn't looking. I had to sleep a couple of times just to avoid things spawning on my self-created island here. I had to run and get sand 3 or 4 times, because having a entire double chest worth of sand wasn't enough. Apparently I needed more. So this was challenging. This was easily the most challenging build I have ever done in Minecraft. And I've built a lot of things. I've built volcanoes, I've built modern houses, I've built subdivisions, I've built that lighthouse, I've built a number of different things. But this is the first time I've ever built anything that I didn't really have a pattern to work off of. Granted, I mean, the lighthouse and all that was a sort of my own creation in a lot of ways. But most of the things I've built in this game, I've used a pattern or I've used a picture or something like that. This is brand new to me, is building something completely from scratch like this. And at this point, I was just so tired, and it was late, and I had to go pass out for a bit because I couldn't see, I couldn't think, I was starting to make mistakes. So I decided, discretion being the better part of valor, let's go pass out for a few minutes, get some sleep, and come back to it fresh in the morning with a fresh set of eyes, and hopefully something to keep me awake, like 3,000 or 4,000 pots of coffee. Okay, so I've slept, I've showered, I've injected caffeine directly into my eyeballs. I think we're good to go. So we need to make us some concrete for our bottom layer. And I have chosen white concrete because I want this to have a very industrial, military, scientific kind of look to it. So I figured white concrete would be very cool for the bottom layer. So I think we've got enough here. 2 stacks and a little bit extra. I think that'll be enough. I'm pretty sure that'll be enough. So let's go ahead and get some concrete made up here. And then we can go over and start laying down our foundation. Okay, here's the moment of truth. Let's see if this is actually gonna work. Or if I just spent, you know, hours upon hours doing something that will make me cry once we're done. Here we go. Well, we more or less got a rhythm down now, at least. Well, we did. Remember what I was saying about choosing a different block when you're doing this, so if you miss, well, this is the reason, because this isn't the most precise of tools here. I suppose if you had, what's the enchantment, the depth strider? I suppose if you had that, this would be a lot simpler. But I don't, so there you go. People who don't play Minecraft will never know and never understand how satisfying it is to watch sand fall like that. Feels good. This looks like it's working from what I can see, but honestly, I'm afraid to look under the water. I'm not gonna look. Not gonna look. We're not gonna look until we're done, because there's no going back at this point. We can't exactly turn around and undo everything we've done. Goodbye, sand. Goodbye. I won't miss you. I'm so glad to see you go. And here is our last row. And to give you an idea how big this platform was, I started getting rid of this platform when it was morning, and now the sun's going down. So my poor character here has been treading water all day. And last few. There we go. Alright. I'm afraid to look. I'm seriously afraid to look, see if this actually worked or not. All right, here we go. Ready? 1, 2, 3. It worked! It actually worked! And I got the proportions right! Ha ha! It actually worked! It worked! Hey, buddy! Buddy, it worked! Oh. Alright, we've got our concrete, we've got our glass, and more importantly, we've got our potions of water breathing that I actually remembered this time that we can use. So let's get down here. Let's suck one of these down. And we can get started on our concrete layer for the bottom of this structure. Alright, initial concrete layer is done. Now it's time for the glass. So, oh, I suppose I'd actually have an entrance, huh? At least a temporary entrance until I get the proper entrance made, which I've got something special planned for as well. So, there's our entrance. Let's get our glass down. And of all the parts of this project, this is probably the easiest because you know exactly where the glass should go, since all you have to do is just follow the sand on the outside. And it's always nice to have a silk touch pick for when, not if, but when you do this. So we can just go ahead and come on, silk touch pick, let's go a little bit faster. There we go. So really, and there's our glass finished. Oh, it looks beautiful. Looks so cool. All right, let's get down. Start digging this out, and we're going to keep glass on us just in case we do have any kind of mass cave-in or anything like that. There we go. Let's get some light going in here. Looks like we're going to avoid a mass cave-in, but we do need a sign or something for over there. Let's wall this off for just a minute, so we can have some peace to work with here. There we go. Oh, it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. And luckily I have Super Whoopty Sword. And yes, I'll be using the torch method in just a second, but I want to get some of this cleared out so I have some room to work at least. Oh my god. So much sand! And after 2.5 shovels, 36 torches, about 10 patch jobs on everything, which the reason you have to do patch jobs is because the way water works in 1.13, you could have what looks like a flush wall, but there's water seeping through, and you've got to go in and take care of that with either a bucket or a block to stop it off and then come back. But after all of that digging and all of that sand and all that time and all that effort, we have the beginnings of a very cool looking underwater dome here, which I am very, very happy with and very proud of, I might add. This was... I didn't know how this was going to work out. I thought it was going to be a disaster, but actually it's turned out really, really good. I am really happy with this. And now what we have to do is we have to put in the airlock over here. We have to landscape the interior, because I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this area yet. I'm thinking this is going to be grass down here with some trees to make it look like a, you know, a sort of a post-apocalyptic survival biome or something. Out of Silent Running, if you've ever seen that movie where they've got the domes in space with the different biomes in them, I'm thinking we could do that with part of this. And then back over here, you can barely see it, but there's the entrance to that cave that I was talking about. So we're going to expand this a little bit, and that's going to go over into the cave. We're going to glass that out. We're going to clear it out with either sponges or sand, and that's going to be our living area. We're probably, I'm trying to figure out if I want to do a workroom in here or in there. We'll figure it out. But yeah, I'm very happy with the way this turned out. But unfortunately, that's all we have time for today, folks. Thank you so much for coming along with me on this. This was an experience. Would I do this again? Probably not. because that was a long build. But I'm glad I did it. Just to say that I've done it, if nothing else. But I learned quite a bit from doing this too. So I'm becoming less and less derp as we go along. Hooray for our side! But I do appreciate everyone coming along. Like, comment, and subscribe if you like the video. Definitely subscribe. It helps out the channel. The more subscribers I have, the more fun we have. And that's what this is really all about, is having a good time. And definitely like as well, because likes definitely help out the channel. So, like, throw me a comment down below. What do you think we ought to do with the interior of the base now that we've got it done? Should we do a biome? Should we do like an industrial workshop? Should we do a scientific lab? What do we do with that space? Because I've got some ideas, but I want to hear from you as well. Hey, make sure you go out tonight. I know it's Sunday. I know you got things you got to do. You got errands you got to run. You got football you got to watch. But make sure you go out tonight at some point. Play some games. Have some fun. We'll see you again soon. Thank you very much, folks. Goodbye.